Thanks for joining us again. Matty is back, and we're going to give The Rock a bit of a rundown this next couple of weeks, aren't we, Jared? We've been talking about him quite a bit in the last few episodes, so we've decided to give a couple of his films a go.
Mm-hmm.
The first one is the most recent, is Netflix's Red Notice. But before we get to it, let's do a bit of a whip round. Now, Matty, we talked about how, on the last episode, how you've been watching the horror films and I've moved into watching reality television, so we seem to have swapped lives.
Yeah.
Where are you seated? What have you been watching?
Well, look, the Soprano binge got usurped by Love Island, so I'm back into the reality. So it's sad to say. I'm sad to say that that's
one of the greatest TV shows in history, usurped by fucking Love Island.
Yeah, and it's thick and fast. But I managed to watch The Hunt as well the other night, which thank you Blumhouse for giving us something like that.
Yeah.
Something a little bit different. It's the social commentary is a bit missed, but it's a good flick nonetheless. So I really enjoyed that one. But other than that, it's been pretty thin. A lot of NBA and NFL for me.
Okay. We keep on those fantasy numbers, mate.
Oh, I've got to check it out.
Yeah. Jared, what do you got?
I had a couple of things. I watched a little bit of that Catching Killers that you were watching there, Adam. Yeah, it was all right. It's pretty standard fare for that sort of stuff, but it was good to hear from those involved in cases and things like that. I finished up the US office, so I'm doing a quick run through the UK office just to kind of refresh things. In terms of the horror stuff, I've been continuing on with more episodes of Behind the Monsters. Very enjoyable stuff. The last one I watched was Freddy. So I've watched Chucky and I've watched Freddy since the last time we spoke.
So Robert Englund's fucking chewing everyone's ear off, is he?
England was, look, they kept him to a minimum, but, as we've said before, I do have a great love for Robert, but he can, sometimes it's just like you feel like just pipe down. Let somebody else have a word, Rob. But I do love, he's just one of those guys where his enthusiasm for the character was just, you couldn't quash it. Even he'll still go and talk really lovingly about everything, even Freddy's dead. Fuck, the bloke can muster some positivity about that. So I got to give him some credit for that.
He's the only one.
Yeah, and Adam, look, I'm going to come across as a bit silly here because so I watched the Chucky one, and obviously Chucky, over a few of the entries, has delved pretty heavily into sort of, some LBGTQI sort of themes and things like that. And it's taken me this long. It was when I watched the episode, I thought, hang on a minute, is Don Mancini gay? And of course he is. And I'm like, he's only fucking put it out there in a number of the films and now the TV show. And I'm like, oh, okay, it only took me that long to get to it. But it was interesting to get into Chucky because he's one that hasn't really been covered all that much. Like all the other ones, we've got docos or copious amounts of special features and that sort of stuff. Chucky, we've got a bit of that, but not all that much. So I really enjoyed that episode. Thought it was good. They had a little bit of sort of behind the scenes footage of some of the animatronics and things like that they created, which was good fun. So yeah, that was good. In terms of movies, obviously, Adam, me and you went for a third crack at Halloween Kills. We had to check it out at the cinema before it left. So we ticked the big screen box on that one, which was good. It's always good to see it because some things do play better on the big screen. Like I like the scene with the fire and Michael Myers walking out of the burning house, but on the big screen it just looked awesome. Like it was such a good sequence to see on that. The Penguin storyline, wasn't helped by being any bigger.
No,
but
it wasn't.
Other than that, Adam, you sent me a text in jest about a couple of Netflix editions over the weekend.
Yeah, I did.
And of course, I ha-ha'd the text.
You did.
I proceeded to watch both movies. The movies in question were Kindergarten Cop 2.
Oh, no!
With Dolph Lundgren.
No! That doesn't exist, does it?
It does. Dolph Lundgren takes on the role.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's on
God.
Netflix. Check it out.
I'm not going to do it. I'll report back next time we
Yes,
talk.
you will. Yes, you will. I'll take your interest. Look, Dolph doesn't take to teaching as well as Arnie did. He's coasting, Big Dolph.
It sounds like I reckon Dolph Lundgren would be like a teacher, but like 30 years into their career. Like,
Yeah.
if he learns, he learns.
Yes.
That would be the attitude.
Yeah. It didn't go quite so well. I mean, it's essentially the same storyline, but a couple of changes there. But I thought I would get more laughs out of it than I did. So that was unfortunate.
The fact that you clung to the idea that Kindergarten Cop 2 will deliver some better laughs.
Did you watch it, Adam?
No, I haven't, but don't worry, I'm circling it.
What are you talking about? I mean, Expendables 2, Dolph was getting a few laughs out of me, so I thought,
I know.
I cannot wait for Dolph to stretch his comedic chops with this one.
How old is it?
Yeah.
It's about 3 or 4 years old.
This year, isn't it?
Oh.
No, it was. I think it was about 2016 or 17, so it's a couple of years old now.
Was it?
I mean, it took me.
Fuck.
I'm not gonna look. I'm not gonna lie. I'd picked it up in JB Hi-Fi. I looked at it, but I thought, no, I can't. I just can't do it. But now that once it turned up on Netflix, I could do it. So, and I did.
Yeah.
And the other one, Adam, was Hard Target 2. I got onto Hard Target 2.
And you were fairly complimentary with Hard Target 2.
I liked Hard Target 2. It's middle of the road. You know exactly what it is. But it's got a couple.
Scotty Atkins, mate.
Got a couple of reasonable actors in there. They've got Temuera Morrison, and I can't remember his name, but it's a guy that was in Prison Break and has done a few things throughout his career. So they filled those roles. And Scott Adkins, look, the bloke's game. He gets in amongst it in the fight scenes. He does the stunts and everything. He knows what you want out of an action movie, and it's pretty it's pretty predictable. It's pretty standard fare. But hey, I don't mind a Scott Adkins movie here and there, and Hard Target, of course.
So what you're telling me is
Hard Target
Scott Adkins knows what we want.
He
from
does.
Scott
He
Adkins.
knows exactly what we want. So maybe Kindergarten Cop 3 for Scott Adkins might be the way to go. He knows that's what we're looking for. A few laughs out of him.
Look, just quietly, as I said, Matty, you asked me if I'd seen Kindergarten Cop 2. I said no, but I am circling it like a fucking vulture circling a wounded animal. But also, you said Dolph could flex his comedic muscle. He doesn't have it.
Well, I was fooled.
He's torn it.
I was fooled by the Expendables too, but oh man, yeah. All right, look, all I'll say is, and this you'll watch it immediately, but Dolph line dances in it. It's achy breaky Dolph. So I bet you'll watch it now.
The Nutbreaker Bush.
It's
Dolph, go
Good
back
stuff.
to action pictures.
But of course, I have to say it. Hard Target 2 was tolerable. So I think Van Damme would be proud.
Would he?
He would. He'd love a bit of Scott Adkins.
Is Adkins is an American, isn't he?
No, I think he's from Great Britain, but he basically puts on the American accent.
Right. Does it better than Jean-Claude?
Yeah, well, I think he's been in a couple of movies with Jean-Claude. He was in one of the Universal
He has.
Soldiers.
He was in Expendables too.
Yeah. But look, the guy knows what you're looking for in these things. They're sort of exactly those things that Van Damme was doing. They take the same template from the 90s and just drop it to now. And sometimes that's all right.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's not going to tax the brain, but it'll do the job.
Yeah.
Is that everything?
That was it.
All right. Mine's pretty slim. I was pretty much on TV the whole time. I watched Chucky episodes 3 through 5.
Mm-hmm. Oh, actually, I got through the first episode, Adam. I didn't fall asleep this time.
All right, good.
Yep.
Look, it's a solid show without being outstanding, but it also has actually thrown a few curveballs in, which I liked.
Yeah. Now,
so far, so good.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but you haven't seen Curse of Chucky or Cult of Chucky yet, have you?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
And I think that's where some of a couple of things are going over my head.
Yeah.
Because they were involved
Especially
in those
probably
movies.
in Cult of Chucky, I would imagine,
Right.
from what I'm getting from
Was
that
that
first
a bit
episode.
weird, was it?
No, it wasn't a bit weird. Like, I really liked both of them. I thought they were both very good, but Cult of Chucky just took it in a direction where it sort of... No, I won't go too deep into it, but Cult of Chucky, you can probably guess a little bit of what was going on.
Yeah. So I watched those and I enjoyed it. I finished off the Curse of the Chippendales, episodes 3 and 4, which basically went into the actual crime side of it.
Yeah.
Which was kind of where it became a bit lackluster. Which, usually I'm all for that, but I'd got swept up in the body oil and the glitter and
You were waiting to see
that
blokes
goes on there.
in your words, blokes in bloody with average rigs, Adam. You were waiting to see them fucking gyrating in banana hammocks and didn't get enough of it.
The funniest part of it was there was a breakaway group. A couple of guys left the Chippendales and became Adonis. And you should have seen some clips of their show. It was pure 90s. Blokes in ripped jeans and crop tops. Far out.
So I'm assuming there was a couple of blokes in ripping Nick, because the image I'm getting from you is just, a little bit sloppy from some of these guys.
No, some of these blokes were rigged up.
Right.
But, the 80s wasn't a time for the mega rig, was it? You didn't have blokes just buff to buggery like they are now. So there was a few sloppy units, and there was a couple of blokes who looked like... a couple of blokes who needed a good fucking back shave.
Yeah. Couple of sloppy units, but they look like they look like the baby's arm holding an apple under the strides at them, so they still get it right anyway.
Yeah. In their strides, they're fucking packing heat. But, they weren't exactly Adonis level sort of blokes. So, look, it was interesting in also, for me, as they dug into the actual, how the group was put together and stuff, they actually had some of the guys who'd been in it talking now. And I kind of wanted the series to end with a kind of what they'd been up to.
Yeah.
But it just doesn't. It just almost forgets about that.
Well, you were waiting for the sort of
disappointing.
You were waiting for like the Thunder from Down Under chapter or something like that. Someone to talk about there.
Fuck, mate.
Unlikely second
act. My stepdaughter goes, "Oh, we do one of those shows in Vegas. It was awesome." I was like, "Oh, God, come on." But I finished up with Tiger King season 2.
Oh yes.
Yeah, I watched that as well. Yeah.
Look, I'm going to put it pretty bluntly. It's like making a murderer. They've just decided that this has got money in it.
Yeah, stitched a bit more together.
It's kind of pretty average. The first episode, piss funny.
Yeah. Because
we had a bit more of Joe Exotic.
We got more music videos.
Oh, there's one where he's fucking singing to a candle. It's obviously not his voice.
Yeah. I thought the highlight...
It sounds like buddy Tim McGraw or something.
Yeah. I mean, there's a part where, like, you hear him talking and he's got the, he sounds like a bloody chipmunk or something, and then in cuts the music track and it sounds like Kamal or someone like that. You're like, it's clearly not you, mate. No one is being fooled by this. But my favourite, Adam, was when he was singing to a dead chimp.
Chimpanzee.
Like he seemed to cut the video together of the chimpanzee dying and quickly grabbed a Joe Exotic shirt from the fucking store to bury it in and all this sort of stuff. And next thing you know, you hear the Joe Exotic version of Say Something, and I'm like, oh my God. But the whole time, I was like, yeah, I can do 5 episodes of this.
Yeah, unfortunately, they then decide to spend 2 episodes looking into Carol Baskin's ex-husband and his death, which I was just thoroughly bored by.
Yeah, it was,
and I was really getting the shits with that fucking internet sleuth.
Mm.
He was just a dickhead. He was just another one of these. Oh, you know what? I've never seen so many scummy people in one place.
Yeah.
Everyone's got
Almost
an angle.
everyone is a scumbag in the show.
Everybody's got an angle. Everybody's trying to fucking squeeze money out of someone. It's disgusting to think that these people have some kind of fame from this.
Yeah.
It's bloody unbelievable.
Adam, I mean, I've got to put it to you. Are you a bit of a scumbag for laughing your ass off when OJ was injecting himself into conversation?
Yeah. OJ decides to tell us that Carol Baskin definitely killed her ex-husband. I'm like, that shit should be fucking quiet, bro.
Yeah. Glass houses, OJ.
yeah. Yours is the fucking greenhouse. Jesus. And yes, look, Jared, I am a scumbag, no doubt about it. But I just look at these guys and I think this entire series was just an opportunity for these guys to try and keep their 15 minutes of fame alive.
Yeah, and I got to say, the guy that the last two episodes focused on, Tim, whatever his name is, I mean, he was lunatic. He was fucking scary. Like, he was the worst that America has to offer in terms of, like, Second Amendments. Give me my guns, all that sort of stuff. Like, he was absolute
lunatic.
He was absolutely fucking frightening. And so I couldn't really laugh. I mean, Joe Exotic had a bit of that, but then he's singing country tunes and I could laugh at it. I couldn't laugh at the other bloke.
Yeah.
So they lost that kind of entertainment aspect to it.
Yeah, he was a horror story, that bloke. Yeah. I mean, he threatened everybody.
Yeah.
It was really, really poor form. But that was it for me. So let's take a break. Here's the trailer for 2021's Red Notice.
Nolan Booth, the second most wanted art thief in the world. Special Agent John Hartley, FBI.
Hi, guys. How'd you find me?
You stole William Strang's Lady with the Red Hat from the Tate.
You can't prove that was me. I got that on Etsy.
I want you to help me catch the most wanted art thief in the world, the Bishop.
Hello, boys. It's so nice to finally meet you in person.
She set me up, framed me.
A few clever keystrokes and poof. Bye-bye, Agent John Hartley.
She's gonna steal Cleopatra's eggs. They're priceless. If we catch her together, I can clear my name, and I'll help you become the #1 thief in the world again.
Lift with your neck. Even if I did partner up with you, you still only have one brain.
What's your plan, son of a...
See? Easy peasy.
My, oh my, oh my. You have to be the two dumbest men on the planet.
You look awful.
How's it going with your partner in crime?
5-second rule.
This is a marriage of convenience.
I want a divorce so you can have kids.
Are you kidding me?
What? This is hard!
You tried to beat me.
That's the idea. Are you not entertained?
There's one last thing you should know. Trusting a thief can be dangerous.
Oh, what the
Red Notice from 2021. Written and directed by Rawson Marshall Thurber, who gave us Skyscraper and Dodgeball. It's produced by Beau Flynn, who produced San Andreas, Danny Garcia, who produced Rampage, and Hiram Garcia, who produced Hobbs and Shaw, as well as Dwayne Johnson and Rawson Marshall Thurber. It stars Dwayne Johnson as John Hartley, Ryan Reynolds as Nolan Booth, and Gal Gadot as the Bishop. It allegedly cost $200 million, and it has no box office, but it had the highest opening day with 4.2 million subscribers watching it on its first day.
Mm.
And it was actually supposed to be in theatres under Universal Studios before distribution rights were then sold to Netflix.
There you go.
All right, Matty, straight out of the gate, what's your take on this one?
For 200 mil, they should be ashamed of themselves. I know we were all sitting there going, man, this movie really needs another double cross. It was pretty poor. There was like locations for no reason, and the plot was really thin. Some good moments, some good action, but two.
Ooh.
Two. Like, look, you could watch it again. Probably deserves 2.5. But
Could you? I couldn't.
Yeah, but I don't want to.
You could watch it.
I really don't want to see it again. I really don't ever want to see it again.
Jesus.
Yep.
Oh, no way. I'm going to go next, Jared, because I think you might be somewhere in the middle. This is just bloated, big budget filmmaking. You know, the stars sleepwalk through it. They've no chemistry whatsoever. The action scenes are shot in such a pedestrian fashion. You know, we shit on Six Underground, but at least fucking Bay's shaking the camera, for God's sake. This is just, I mean, it just dawdles along. It's not even funny. And it's just incredibly boring.
Yeah.
And it's just a waste of time, money, talent. It's 1 out of 5. I was very unhappy with it.
You are correct, Adam. I'm 1.5. But I agree completely. Like, I thought The Rock and Reynolds would get some mileage, and I'd at least be sort of 2.5. I'd have a couple of laughs, but there was just nothing. There was absolutely nothing. So I was wondering the whole time, like, when are we going to do something? Because it just seemed to be a lot of let's just talk and let's let Ryan Reynolds try to salvage something here by just trying to mug and do his usual shtick. But it's like the old Will Ferrell performance, right, where they just kind of let him go on camera, and it was on the bottom end. Like, it just didn't work. None of it worked. I don't recall laughing at any one line that Ryan Reynolds dropped, which is unusual.
Yeah.
So, and I just couldn't, like, the structure of the film, like, they expected you to buy that everyone was racing against Gal Gadot to get this thing, but we knew they weren't. We knew it was going to sort of come together. So there was really no other party involved. There was no... You know, if you look at the Indiana Joneses and all that sort of stuff, there's the Nazis in general that are always threatening, and we've got the bad guys that we know are the bad guys. And, you know, even if there is a double cross, there's multiple people that we can look at that are chasing this thing. For one, we always expected something like what ended up happening, but sort of there was just no other party. There was no race to anything.
Yeah.
So
and
when you say pedestrian, I think that was part of it. Like, the whole fucking plot was pedestrian. The whole movie just ambled along. There was never a point where I was like, shit, that was tense. Like, never. Yeah. So I was really, really disappointed.
See, for me, it's a classic example of the current Hollywood star system. You've got 3 big stars earning $20 million paychecks. Nobody can be a fucking villain.
Yeah.
Like... Why not? Like, it's fucking ridiculous, mate. Some of these actors, they just couldn't be bothered to stretch.
But even if you are going to do that,
give us
another villain.
Find us a villain.
And they
somewhere.
did.
Yeah.
For about 2 minutes. It wasn't a very good one, But then when he was kind of done away with, I was like, okay, so what now?
Mm.
And nothing eventuated. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's a real...
A slog.
Well, I've got a fair bit to say.
Yeah, same.
I have got very few likes.
I've got a handful. A small
My
handful.
first one is I got a chuckle out of The Rock pulling out in a fancy Porsche, squealing out of the fucking out of there, getting hit by a combi van immediately.
Yeah, I did laugh
got
at
a
that,
chuckle
actually.
out of that. I thought that was pretty funny.
I did have a laugh there. I actually thought, look, the opening scene in the museum started well enough. Like, it wasn't great, but it was good enough to say, okay, we've set everything up. We've had a little bit of a chase through the museum. We've got the necessary sort of, the artifacts are involved and we know what we're chasing here. So I'm like, okay, well, that's well enough. Although the newsreel was kind of a bit silly, but yeah, I was okay with how that started.
I thought they set The Rock up. The Rock's character got set up pretty nicely. The art detective, they're like, oh, you're a bit big to be an art detective, and he's sort of the off-the-cuff comment of, yeah, I get that a lot or whatever. It felt like there was a little bit of brashness, and then, it descended into the mediocrity of him just being the aloof guy that's way too big and... Yeah. But I thought it started out all right. Like, his character had a bit of depth, and then... yeah, whatever.
Yep.
It was a good chase scene. I enjoyed the chase.
Yeah, I thought the chase
I wouldn't
was
have put it in my likes because I put nothing in, very little in my likes.
Yeah.
But I would have said that if you build on that start, you got something.
The little chase in
the
chase in the scaffolding was as good as it got. Really.
Yeah.
Are we getting to the point now where criminals that know parkour is just expected? We expect every single person to be able to do it?
Mate, parkour went out fucking 10 years ago, didn't it?
They have the exact same scene in Shang-Chi.
Casino Royale.
Exact same scene.
What about a crook that just does a bit of cardio? Like, get back to just legging it.
I like the old crooks are just fat blokes that give orders.
What about a crook, Jared, who's in 80s Chippendales Nick? Who can put on a sprint when necessary?
Yeah, just a short sprint. Yeah, I think that'd be nice to see. I actually had, and this was I've got to say, this was one of the bright spots of the movie for me. I'm sort of really loving Daniel Bernhardt's kind of second act as like a brawler and kind of stunts go-to guy. Like when he was in the prison there, I was like, yeah, good to see him again. Like, he's had his ass kicked by John Wick. He's been thrown through the bus window in Nobody. I'm like, he's still a good-looking rooster. He's still in Ripping Nick. Adam, you get him. He does a job. It's good to see him.
Yeah, agreed.
I mean, when Bloodsport 2 and 3 didn't quite strike as we thought they would, didn't quite have the staying power of a Kindergarten Cop 2, we kind of...
I think it's fair to say that we knew they wouldn't.
Well, maybe not. But yeah, I do recall a period where they were trying to make him sort of, one of the straight-to-video kind of stars, almost. In the Gaza Daniels mould, Adam, who's also still in Ripping.
Oh, Gaza Daniels.
But
if Bernhardt can get it to 60 and look like that, well I'll give him props.
I just think he's a good go-to guy for these kind of scenes. He knows how to do those martial arts sequences. I think he does them well. So I'm getting a little bit of a buzz when I see him these days.
Okay, fair enough. I only got one laugh out of Ryan Reynolds, and it was when he pulls that stick in the prison about how this guy's not a cop. He's not a cop. He's fucking FBI.
Yeah.
He's just saying it loud and shit. What's his there going, shush, be quiet. And he keeps saying, we need to stay under the radar. And he just fucking tells the whole prison. Like, I thought that was reasonably amusing.
Yep.
That's as funny as he got.
I feel like, again, that was good for comedy purposes, but Rock would have just put a fist right through his face. If that was embedded in any sort of reality.
Yeah.
So,
We're well past that. I mean, from minute one, we were well past that.
Agreed. So what else do you guys got? Because I've only got one more and it's right at the end.
So the only time that Rock gets to show a little bit of personality in the movie is when he blows up at Reynolds about them being lost. So I was kind of like, by default, I was like, that was one of the only scenes that I was mildly interested in because he was getting a bit cranky about it all. But again, you knew exactly what was going to happen. There was no surprise to it, but it was like, oh shit, he's actually allowed to raise his voice or something. Like, so geez, that's how hard we're struggling for likes that I'm mentioning that.
Oh. We got anything else, Matty?
Nah.
I like the idea.
I like the idea of the Nazi cave. That was cool. Ryan Reynolds sort of getting distracted by all the other loot in there.
Yeah.
I thought that was cool.
Yeah, could have worked.
And but it sort of all went downhill after that.
My only other part was Ed Sheeran. I thought that was in the right spirit. I did chuckle when he was saying, I was in Game of Thrones and starts carrying on, especially after, the whole cameo in this. He's been ripped so hard for that cameo in Game of Thrones. But I thought when he was in this and he's carried on, do you know who I am? I was in Game of Thrones. I thought, yeah, okay, I'll get that. I'll give you that. I'll give it a laugh.
Yeah, I had that in my dislikes, but only because by the end of it, it popped up right at the end. I was just like, when is this shit going to be over? My only other and maybe I'm thick, but I actually was genuinely surprised by the turn. It took me by surprise because I thought The Rock, it didn't strike me as something that his character would do.
It was completely unbelievable.
Oh, totally unbelievable. But as soon as it happened, I was like, oh, so these two are in cahoots.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something, though. Talk about having zero chemistry. Far out. Those two have got no chemistry.
Well,
they've got Padalecki chemistry, Jared.
I know. I was actually going to mention that. I mean, a couple of wet matches. Look, I hate to say it, but the whole too clever flashback to saying, oh, I'm the bad, maybe I am the bad guy. I was just like, the second he said that, it was like, oh, okay, is that where we're going? And then as things progressed, it was sort of like, yeah, I think that's where we're going. Like, so.
Yeah. Maybe I just missed it because everything was so boring. I was almost like,
you weren't invested, that's right. It caught you off guard because you didn't give a fuck.
I mean, I'm pretty sure I was looking at my phone. I think I went to the toilet and didn't even pause it.
I got up and made a sandwich.
I mean, far out.
Yeah, it was not captivating.
Have we got any more likes?
No.
All right, let's get stuck in here.
All right.
First cab off the rank.
Chemistry?
The Rock is just... The Rock... Like, this is The Rock at his worst.
Yeah. It is. He is just coasting.
He couldn't give two shits about this. Like, do something. At least Reynolds, he's fallen back on his usual stick, but I reckon he was kind of forced to.
Oh, mate, by the end of it, Reynolds looked fucking exhausted by himself.
Yeah.
And I feel like, it was just... You look at the bloopers and that's what it looks like. It looks like it's just him trying to fucking save the thing.
Yeah.
Because I don't know how you could...
He was corpsing. There was no real laughs in there.
Yeah, I don't know how you could muster... Well, for $20 million, I could probably muster the energy, but I don't know how you could get enthusiastic about what was being asked of you.
And again... I understand the need for these type of pictures, They're fun, they're breezy. They get people on bums on the seats.
Yeah, when they're done right.
Yeah, but you can still be an actor of a caliber, right? And I'm not saying The Rock is fucking Robert De Niro, but he's a better actor than we are led to believe by the mountains of shit he seems to be pinging out recently.
Yeah.
And it's pretty obvious Rawson Marshall Thurber is one of these rock sycophants.
Oh, I would be. He's probably earned him a lot of money.
Because he directed Central Intelligence, he directed Skyscraper.
Yep. Central Intelligence wasn't horrible.
Central Intelligence, at least.
Central Intelligence was okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Skyscraper is garbage.
Yeah.
So here's this guy who it is pretty plain to see in my book, based on Skyscraper and this, he has no idea how to direct action. I mean, he couldn't even wring any tension out of action scenes in a massive skyscraper on fire.
Yeah.
He couldn't get anything out of it.
And I think,
he's not an action director's ass.
We've spoken about this too, Adam. Like, from the get-go, The Rock and $7 Productions or whatever take control of this. And I don't think that's always a good thing.
No, it's not.
I think, as we've spoken about, we kind of want to get back to a fucking great script making its way across The Rock's desk and him saying, yeah, I'll do it. And I'll do it the way you want it done.
Yep.
Not just, we need a picture, we got 3 actors or whatever, let's get them together and cobble something together. Because it's clear that this, there's just...
If you don't take it, somebody else will take 20 million.
Yeah, that's right. There's nothing there. There's just nothing there. And it comes back to the whole, the Netflix issue of their metrics are different. I mean, Netflix doesn't give a fuck if it's a shit movie because they know we're all going to watch it because we're not paying. There's not a second week drop-off. There's not, Yeah,
we're not paying on the nose for it.
Yeah, they're not losing the money. They've already got the subscribers and they want people subscribed. So they're getting that and they're keeping people subscribed with this stuff. So all they care about is we've already spent our money and we're all going to click on it because we like The Rock and Ryan Reynolds and Gal Gadot, so we click on it.
At the moment.
And that's what it is. Well, I mean, it's the biggest fucking movie Netflix has ever had. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. Give the characters some flaw, some fallibility that makes them interesting.
Yeah.
Because they tried the daddy issues thing, but but it was sort of whoever wrote it was like, let's have the guy and the girl romantic comedy, but we're gonna make it 2 dudes and then sort of get the overtones of mateship instead of this budding relationship that never seems to fit or work either.
I think the Rock's wardrobe was his failing in this. Right. That little,
he's wearing a skivvy at one point.
The turtleneck, the skivvy and scarf combo.
Jesus Christ.
I mean, look, I'm not a fashionable man. I won't pretend that I'm walking runways in Paris anytime soon, but I look at that and I just laughed. Get back to the days. Look, The Rock belongs in a turtleneck and a fanny pack. That's what we need.
Didn't he look like he was in Jumanji when they put him in the jungle, though?
Oh,
I didn't know which movie we were watching.
Well, that was... I said the exact same thing to Adam. I'm like, the funny thing is, there's a scene where he looks just like Smolder Bravestone, but Smolder Bravestone was a kind of parody. And here he is. It's like he looks exactly the same. I thought they were definitely going to try to get a laugh out of that, but nope.
Nothing.
I don't care if it's $200 million and it's a pretty shit movie, but at least bring some excitement to the table. The movie is extremely boring, and quite frankly, it is just ripping off far better films, from True Lies with the dance scene to Indiana Jones to Uncharted to National Treasure.
Yeah.
And I'm just sitting there thinking, so Rawson Marshall Thurber, which I'm telling you right now, his script was not this.
But I also...
Because it's been chewed up and written by committee.
It also... I mean, it looks at all those movies, but it leaves everything they do well out for just these characters chatting to each other and Ryan Reynolds trying to make us laugh. Trying very hard, but not really hitting.
Performances are very average.
Yep.
Reynolds is just on autopilot. He's probably trying his best, but there's not much there. The Rock, I mean, he seems disinterested. And I think you hit the nail on the head, Jared, when we spoke. Gal Gadot is not a good actress.
No.
Like,
she's working
there isn't
hard.
a lick of chemistry.
I mean,
she's trying, but...
She's trying, but as I said to you, like, I'll always have a bit of a soft spot for her because, you know, I do like DC. I felt she was pretty good in the first Wonder Woman. But everything else I've seen her, I'm just like, oh, shit, I don't know. Like, she doesn't, there's nothing different. Everything's kind of the same delivery, the same. I just don't think she's all that crash hot.
Yeah.
And this is a film like this where everything's kind of missing the mark is where the great actors, where you can look at it and say, well, shit, at least they were all right. They were doing their best. But when everything's failing around you like this and it leaves you exposed, it really makes The Rock and her look pretty average.
Yeah. And the girl who plays the Interpol agent is also awful.
Oh, she's awful.
She was trash. She was terrible.
They didn't give her anything to work with, though. She's just storming around
she
with
has
a gun
nothing.
out the whole thing.
Yeah.
The whole.
She's got nothing to do,
Looking
which,
like a
let's
twit.
face it, that probably hampers those things as it is. But you know what, Jared? This is the difference between a great actor and someone like The Rock who's a personality. Yeah, like he's an actor. He's a decent actor, but he's more of a presence. Right?
Yeah.
Like
full
Arnie
of charisma.
is
really,
tons of charisma.
Can get you there in certain places. But when things go pear-shaped, you need a Batista.
No, what you need, Jared, you need someone like Denzel.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at The Equalizer.
Shit.
That is a shit movie.
Well, The Equalizer.
It's a shit movie.
The Equalizer 2.
No, but it's a shit. No, but both of them are plotted and the like are fairly average films.
Yeah.
But with Denzel in the lead, they're very serviceable.
Super watchable. Yeah.
That's why he's a great actor.
Give me shaved head John Travolta over some of the performances in this.
God. Is that from Paris with Love you're
That was
talking
from
about?
Paris from Love, but that was a better performance.
Give me Bobby John Travolta.
And I would prefer from Paris with Love pornography film than the one that Travolta's in.
Shit.
So the performances aren't much good.
Yeah.
Oh, look, I've got a query here. Okay, please, somebody, maybe I missed something, but Bishop puts Booth in jail.
Yep.
Correct?
Mm-hmm.
With The Rock, who's obviously her fella.
Yep.
But only Booth knows where the third egg is.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yep.
So why bother putting him in jail? Why not just strike a deal and then double cross the prick?
Because they're trying to build rapport, I guess, he's going undercover.
Yeah.
I know, but
It's a pretty elaborate way
so,
of doing it, though.
It's so
ridiculous.
over the top.
It does
Why
introduce
bother
a
with
few
all that
problems.
shit?
It introduces a few problems. I mean, I know we're in a gulag that is supposedly, it's in the fucking top of a mountain or something.
Mm.
But why are we getting the prisoners to fix the wall and things like that? I mean, it's just asking for trouble, isn't it?
Also,
Nothing in that place works properly.
So the other side of that coin is you deliberately put your partner, your boyfriend, and this bloke who knows where this egg is in a fucking Russian jail.
Mm.
And you expect that they're not going to get shivved in the showers or something?
Yeah. And also,
that's not likely to happen.
I don't think, especially in that place, I'm not sure the fucking swipe card system in the prison is such a solid kind of idea. Did we workshop that one?
Yeah.
Especially a swipe card system that if one of the fucking prisoners gets hold of it, allows them to just fucking walk out. Did anyone think that one through?
Where the fuck is anyone going to go if they get out? You'd have to steal a helicopter.
But that's what I mean. Like, it's just, I mean, there's this whole thing. But even then, it's fucking silly. Like, this whole thing that they've concocted to get out. And that's exactly what I was looking at. I'm like, they don't give a fuck if the prisoners fix the walls because they obviously there's an element that it's been fucking put together. Mm. And they're on the top of a mountain or whatever, but it's just so fucking silly. Like, I really disliked how that all played out.
it's a classic example of look at the stakes. It's this prison on top of a mountain where nobody can escape, and then we just conveniently put everything out there that you can get you out.
Yeah, that's right.
So you take away the stakes. I mean, give me something like Tango and Cash. That prison break.
Yeah.
Fuck, I don't know who directed that bit, but it was at least fun.
Yeah, yeah.
The escape was fun.
Yeah. I think you're right. There's no stakes in this at all.
No,
From
not at all.
the beginning to the end. The eggs aren't that compelling a thing to get. The
eggs as a MacGuffin are fine. They're not, like you said, they're not super exciting, but they're fine. Yeah. That could have worked, but there was just nothing around that.
No stakes there. There's no stakes in the actual heist. There's no doubt that one of them is going to walk away with it. It's like which one is going to do it in all circumstances. There's no stakes in the prison. There's no stakes in the house. There's no stakes in the Nazi bunker, which miraculously has an exit that no one's found. That's under the waterfall. There's a whole bunch. There's no stakes anywhere, and it's frustrating.
Yeah, it is.
And this is what gets me about The Rock. You're the biggest star on the planet. You're laying the boot into Vin Diesel about counting punches and all this sort of shit and being a candy ass.
That's nothing.
But then you're producing...
That's Conor McGregor
You're producing
stuff.
candy ass movies that have no villains, no stakes, and no interest.
Oh, that's Conor McGregor.
I think you should look in the mirror, Dwayne.
Yeah, but even so, I mean, the point stands. Like, your ego's kind of getting in the way of this. Like, the movie just has nothing. Like, none of the characters are ever in, as you said, none of them are ever in danger. You don't expect any of them. Just the excitement level was.
What's happened?
His
his agent's got in his ear. If you do this movie, you stay on top. If you take a risk, there's a chance you'll get knocked off.
But the thing is, but to me, this is what's going to get you knocked off.
Mm.
I just think people are going to tire of it eventually. There's got to be a point where even the big fans are just
every 5 years there's a new set of 12-year-olds.
No, but it happened to Arnie. Yeah. It happened to Sly. Yeah. It happened to these guys. And they stretch to other movies. The Rock is so big that, like I said, he just takes the $7 production takes over, and they just do everything. And I don't know whether that's such a good thing, because I feel like this is a product of it.
Mm.
I don't know.
It's definitely not a good thing, because we have seen a number of pictures in a row which basically, it'd be fair to say, were middling. If at best they were middling.
Yeah.
Now, Matty, you said don't take this and take a risk. You can still take this, but also take a risk.
Well, that's the thing.
He
is so big that you continue to make these pictures. I'm not saying you don't make these, but please, maybe fucking spend a bit more time on the script. But you make these movies. I want to see these movies. Like The Jungle Cruise, for example. I like The Jungle Cruise. I enjoyed that I went to watch that in the cinemas and I had a good time. But there's still room to do something different. There's still room to squeeze in there in a different type of movie. I mean, we keep going back to Batista on What We Do in the Shadows. That's it. You do that shit because that's well received. I mean, Batista in that was fucking hilarious. His scenes in that show were fucking hilarious, and that keeps you kind of. It keeps people interested in what you're doing. I think it's a little bit of a, I don't know. I'm really fucking disappointed.
I think what the go is he's now just he's a persona.
Mm.
He's a persona. He can't do a 5-minute cameo in What We Do in the Shadows because that doesn't fit the Rock's persona.
Yeah,
and I think that's trouble for him. Look, he would probably just dismiss that totally out of hand. My movies are all, they're really well made, they're expensive, everyone loves them, I make a lot of money. Okay, fine, that's great.
Well, I think he'd probably hear some backlash and then go, whatever, how much money did it make?
Yeah, that's right. Well, that's the problem.
Yeah, exactly.
But there's no recourse for this. That's what I'm saying. Like things like Skyscraper, they made a shitload of money, but there was drop-off and there was bad critical kind of response. the critical response to this has been shit. I mean, it's been very, very ordinary, but Netflix is going to be fucking hand over fist to give you a sequel to this because it's their most watched. It's smashing records. They don't give a fuck about the quality of the movie, and that's a bit of a shame. Like,
which is like what was the one with Charlize Theron? It wasn't actually a bad movie. Like I didn't.
Yeah, The Old Guard.
Old Guard. That was
Yeah.
okay.
Old
That
Guard,
had
yeah.
something new. That had something different to offer.
Yeah,
This was a turd.
yeah, it was.
It just and look, I love The Rock. I
Yeah.
love him he seems like a good bloke, and he seems like he's a guy who works hard to get these movies out. But I think he's lost sight of. We don't want to see you do the same thing every time. Like even Arnie understood that.
Yeah,
You know, he diversified with a kindergarten cop or a twins or, you know. Bruce Willis and Stallone knew that very well.
it hasn't worked for Dolph quite so successfully
Yeah, no.
yet.
But, you know, a bloke like Willis, in his heyday, was making these big bloated actioners where he's strutting around with his persona, but then he'd pop up in a Pulp Fiction or
or The Sixth
you know,
Sense.
a Looper or something, a Sixth Sense. He kind of knew that he could gamble a little bit
Yeah,
because he had so much cred,
yeah, that's right.
and it worked for a long time.
I think The Rock's got his
The
fingers
Rock,
in
I
just.
feel, can do that.
He's got his fingers in so many pies, and he's the businessman now. So I don't know whether he's ever again going to say to someone, "Yeah, I'll take fucking $500,000 to be in your movie because I think the script's just so great." I don't think he's ever going to do that.
Gone are the
And I
days where
actually
he'll pop in a Wyclef film clip,
Yeah,
yelling his wrestling
the
catchphrase.
first foray into rap. It doesn't matter. Good stuff.
God. Well, I said the other day that Will Smith had built that persona, and he actually, I believe he says it in his book, that that's what sort of happened, is he built a persona, and he made certain films based on that. But even when we pulled through Will Smith's resume, he didn't come away with a great deal of medals. But Will Smith gave some really good performances in some of those movies.
Yeah.
You know, I look at I, Robot, I look at I Am Legend,
Yeah.
and I think, you know, Smith shows that acting-wise, he stretched.
Yeah.
He's just in films that perhaps they were tailoring towards, okay, Will Smith's a star and we'll put him out and make money on him.
Yeah. I just want so badly to fucking get to the end of a Rock movie and want to fucking jump out of my seat and pump the air and say, yes, you've got a fucking classic on the resume. Because it's just, he just doesn't. And I really want the guy to have one.
And maybe he hasn't been offered one.
Well, that's right. He hasn't had, but as we were kind of talking about previously, he's as far away from ever as getting one.
Yeah.
Because that's what
If
happened
if
to all
he's
these
got
guys.
that much money, you can commission it.
You know,
surely.
Stallone was fucking desperate when he wrote Rocky.
Yeah.
Arnie was you know, just the right guy for the roles like Predator when they came along, and the Terminator.
And it was original at that point.
Yeah, it was original. Even Willis, you know, we spoke about Willis and Die Hard. Like, they weren't so big that they could just say, I don't do that, or I do it this way, or I'll get my writers in, or whatever. I just feel like The Rock is as far from ever as
I want more generic.
Yeah, I feel like The Rock is as far from ever as getting... I mean, The Rock is now in that Will Smith mode of when Will Smith was at the top of his game, this is what people want from a Will Smith movie. The Rock is there now, and he's just like... Yeah, especially when you're working with Netflix, who just, you know, go by their algorithms, what people want to watch. The Rock's going to hit all those marks, so, you know. Yeah, I just feel like he's as far away from as ever from getting a script saying that's pretty fucking great. I'll do that. Like,
we didn't do any favors by all of us watching it.
Well, that's right. That's the problem, right? Because we don't have to fork over $20. I don't see a review that says 1.5 or, you know, 1 star and think, shit, I might keep my fucking $25 in my pocket and wait till it comes home. Wait till it comes onto home video. So The Rock doesn't get a fucking
$20.
The Rock doesn't get a box office return that says this movie flopped. Like he doesn't get $100 million in the first week, but then everyone heard it was shit, and you finish at 150 for a $200 million movie, it's not going to happen because Netflix doesn't worry about that. So,
see, someone like Sandler set the mode a little bit there because he understood that if I go into business with Netflix, I get my money up front. I make some shit, and no one's looking at box office receipts.
And by their measures,
so no one knows if it's a flop or not.
By their measures, the fucking Sandler partnership has been a raging success.
Yeah, but you know what? The funny thing about all this is, Sandler also stretched.
Yeah. Uncut Gems.
With Uncut Gems.
And thank Christ for that movie because it was awesome.
It's like, if Adam Sandler can stretch, The Rock can stretch.
Come on, please.
You know what I mean?
Sandler dabbled with, like, before that. What was a...
Punch Drunk Love.
Punch Drunk Love.
He'd done a little bit.
And things like that, yeah.
But, I don't know. I don't know how you fix that.
But, yeah, Uncut Gems, he was really, really good.
I think the concern...
Like, not just okay, he was
surely
very
the concern with The Rock is if you veer away and go something a bit more artsy, you lose the wrestling crowd.
But it's not even artsy. It's Pain and Gain.
Mm.
You know? I can't see him doing Pain and Gain again. And he was fucking awesome in Pain and Gain.
No.
Like, he was really good.
Yeah.
And I think Pain and Gain was a pretty solid movie. Again, it's not the classic on the resume, but it's as good as he's got. So, yeah. I don't know. I just...
Meddling him's going to be quick.
All right, back to it. Back to it.
Yep.
The dance sequence that's just ripped directly out of True Lies, and then that whole bullshit where, he's a master pickpocket as well.
Yeah.
He steals that guy's mobile as he's walking past, and I know it comes back to he's a crook later, but I'm like, fuck.
Yeah. The man's a giant. If he puts hands on you, you're going to feel it. Even if it's just a fingertip.
You know it. Yeah. Not only does he take your phone, he crushes it while he's getting it out of your pocket. Yeah. So I just thought, and it's another one of these, Dwayne Johnson's good at everything. Like, his characters are good at everything.
Yep. Adam, I mean, going back to the sort of general things, at what point should we have left the world of, precious art and artifact theft in the action genre behind? Because I feel like it was fucking 15 to 20 years ago.
I think it was in the Ocean's 11 series.
Okay, well, maybe I'm overestimating slightly. But the issue is, when you...
But we're talking about the first Ocean's 11. That was the late 90s.
When you go back to stuff like Indy, for example, I mean... You cannot even compare the action sequences, like the way that the action sequences in Raiders of the Lost Ark are shot compared to something like this. I'm not going to try to do that because it's not even in the same ballpark. But, I mean, even Indy and I'm not talking about the Uncharted movie, but stuff like the Uncharted games. There's a common thread that they fucking fall back on things like Supernatural because sometimes it's fucking boring to be chasing this art piece for so long. So I feel like, this doesn't have the heist elements. It's not a heist movie. It feels more like an action movie to me. So when you look at those kind of models, it's the Indies and the Uncharted games and the Tomb Raider games and stuff. More often than not, they fall back on something Supernatural or something like that because it's kind of boring at times.
Yeah. Yeah, agreed. And just to put a finer point on the action scenes of Raiders of the Lost Ark against the action scenes of Red Notice, you know that Indy's not going to die, right? In Raiders of the Lost Ark. You just know he's not. But they give you something in the action scenes because they're shot.
Yeah, the car chases are exciting.
Truck scene,
the stunts are
and the
exciting.
truck scene. He is getting dragged along the ground and everything like that. So there's a tension to it. You're like, fuck, he's probably getting hurt. This stuff just has none of that.
Yep. And Adam, one of your favourite things. There's a lot of fucking ranking. There's a lot of ranking who's the number one and number two art thief in the world.
You could be number one if we take her out of commission.
Yeah. But not only that, I mean, they've taken it, they're referencing previous results. They're referencing, when I met you back in round one, I mean, you got the chocolates, but... it's
like, is there a a ranking kind of like a Guinness World Records type, where a bloke turns up and checks up on your
can
stats?
I go down? Can I go down and get the? Can I go and buy like the best bets of the art world and fucking put a bet on who's going to steal the latest fucking artifact that's on display at the Louvre or something like that?
And if you're a noted thief wanted by Interpol, you would prefer to not be ranked and known.
Strike me from the list. I'm not involved. I'm not going head to head. I work on my own jobs here. Yeah, it cracked me up when they were talking about that. It was consistently referenced about who was number one and who was number two, and it was very amusing.
I'll tell you one thing that really shit me off: the use of the deep fake technology.
Yeah,
facial recognition deep fake.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, if you've got to come up with such lazy bullshit to get through a security system, you need to rethink it.
Yeah.
And say there's, make it a little easier. Because that was just crap.
If you've got to get a fingerprint and you're not cutting someone's hand off, you've lost my interest.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Exactly. You've got to get medieval on someone's ass.
No stakes. I said it before.
Yeah.
I'll say it again.
There was nothing there.
Can I just throw this out there as well? For a movie that cost $200 million, some of the CGI was pretty bad.
Yeah, it was.
Was a fair bit of it shot using a green screen, do you reckon?
Yeah, I think it was. There was certain sequences where
the Gulag for sure.
Yeah, there was a bunch of things that I was looking at and I was saying, that definitely looks like.
I don't think they were in most of those countries.
No, probably not.
I don't know why they needed all the stupid locations.
Yeah.
This felt
because it's globetrotting,
Yeah. It just was a horrible movie. It had shades of good movies in it, and I know that's what they...
Slivers.
Tried. Yeah.
Slight slivers.
But even, what's the one with Michael Caine and... not Michael Caine, with... is it Michael? Yeah, Michael Caine and Steve Martin.
I was going to say Jaws the Revenge, but go on.
Dirty Rotten Scoundrels.
Yeah, Dirty Rotten Scoundrels had shades of that in it.
Yeah.
With the double crosses and all of that sort of stuff. I'm smarter than you, even though you think you're the smartest. But it just wasn't funny. But it wasn't funny.
No.
And then,
that's right.
And then
the
action scenes, it has shades of all these classics, but it didn't get the heart pumping at all.
The comedy consistently missed.
Mm.
There was so many of Ryan Reynolds' lines that I was just like, okay, yep. Off we go, continue. Where's the next one? Even something like Free Guy. I mean, we spoke about Free Guy, Adam, and I thought that was okay. And that was where, you get a bit of that Ryan Reynolds, you get a few laughs out of his lines. This was just, it was fucking uninspired from start to finish.
Mm.
Yeah, exactly. He was probably at his least enjoyable.
Mm.
And look, I usually get a chuckle or two out of him. Even when he's pulling that usual stick, I get a chuckle out of him.
Yep.
But in this, I think it was just because the movie had got off on a pretty sour note by the time Reynolds kind of starts getting right into that. And I just lost interest in it. And he didn't say anything highly amusing.
Yeah. I mean, the Jurassic Park bit was just prime example of how we were struggling for comedy.
I can't believe we got this far and we haven't talked about the bull yet.
Yeah, well, that was... I didn't even laugh when he got hit by the bull, and usually that'll get me. A bit of slapstick, if nothing else works, a little bit of slapstick will get me. That didn't even get me there.
Yeah. Maybe it's because he just got up like nothing happened to him.
Yeah, that's right.
Maybe it's because,
Well, maybe it's because the rock was bigger than the bull.
That's right.
The guy's huge. But yeah, we spent fucking 2 minutes talking about Jurassic Park, don't move, and all this. And I'm just like, what are we doing? Like, why?
Yeah. Oh my god.
The closest.
And the other thing that shit me.
What was that?
One of the big shit me things was, where's the third egg? And he gives this explanation about how it came about.
Yeah.
Hitler's bunker and everything.
Yeah.
And I was just sitting there going, what are we doing?
Yeah.
What are we doing here?
But I mean, the worst
part...
making
it endlessly complicated.
The worst part of that was we're led to believe that the number one art thief in the world is going to just take his word and piss off. Of course. Yeah, you know, if you wanted to give us any more clues of the direction that this was going, I mean, the second she walks out of that room, you're like, why are you bothering? We know what's going to happen. You know, so it was it was really frustrating. Really frustrating.
Exactly.
The bunkers was freaking stupid anyway. We've got this ridiculous, elaborate doorway to get into the bunker. Just fucking dig a hole downwards. Wouldn't it be surrounded in dirt?
Exactly.
Oh, but it's a Nazi bunker, you know. They've worked on it for a long time to fucking secure everything there. I mean,
Sweet Maria.
I mean, they've got better technology than we've got now. Fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
My last one.
Shit, you
got heaps?
I've still got a few more.
How does a heat-seeking missile work? Can you pull the door on a heat-seeking missile if it's shot at your helicopter?
No, you cannot. It's aiming for heat signatures, which are in the engine. Not in the fucking doorway.
They just pulled a little whoopsie on the heat-seeking missile.
Maybe they worked up a sweat while they were, you know, in fucking 0-degree temperatures. Like, I don't know.
The thing goes straight through and just disappears into the fucking mountain. It is a heat-seeking missile, isn't it?
I don't know. I didn't know. By that point, again, I didn't know.
I like the idea of a complication, but it's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Jesus Christ.
You know what, though? You know what? The worst thing for me was when they do the Indiana Jones callback where Booth whistles the Indiana Jones theme while they're walking down into the bunker.
Yeah, yeah.
And all I could think was, I should put Raiders of the Lost Ark on.
Yeah, yeah. Reference the movie. Don't bother to watch it and take notes or anything. But like, just
exactly. So how'd they do that again?
I mean, you could have copied.
Give a rat's ass.
Copy Raiders of the Lost Ark beat for beat. Change a few names and a few, you know, ethnicities and things like that. I'd have been happy as Larry because this was just not it. I was not happy at all.
Oh,
you know.
God.
So I spoke that I liked the opening in the museum. The point where I started to sort of turn off and you know started to get a little bit twisted up and a bit angry about things was why do we always seem willing to fucking tackle a bloke out a window? I mean, I know these guys are well prepared, but you cannot tell me that I'm well prepared enough to tackle a guy out of a window and just be okay with the consequences. I know there's a fucking little shanty fucking store down there that I'm going to land on the roof of or something. Like, it's so fucking stupid. It's just,
they've been doing it in these movies forever.
Yeah, that's right. It's just tired now. It's really...
And also, just another thing to say, and you know, I've never been the man who's most well known for things about realism in films, but that's not breakaway glass.
No.
It's going to cut the shit out of you.
Yeah, that's right. But even then, like, I've copped that in movies. I've copped stuff where, you know, someone's going out a window or whatever, but it's just, again, it's The Rock and, you know, Rawson Marshall Thurber. Like, it's the same as Skyscraper. Like, nothing about it was remotely believable. I mean, at least in Die Hard, I had a sense of, well, fuck, you know, on a good day, you probably could have survived hanging off the fire hose and going through the window. But this is just so far beyond it. I can't go with them.
Yeah. Totally agree there.
Yeah.
Chemistry.
Whew.
At the end.
Shit.
When I know we're coming back to this, but when we finally find out they're together, I mean, they look like brother and sister. They do. They have absolutely no romantic chemistry.
Yeah.
And I know it's only a couple of scenes where we get that feeling, but there's no real romantic chemistry between The Rock and Gal Gadot. It's just kind of like...
They're just at one level the whole movie. And it just continues on when they're in those scenes.
They look like they'd run out of conversation on that boat pretty quickly.
Yeah, fucking oath.
Yeah. He's twiddling his thumbs and she's fucking staring at him waiting for him to say something. That's where we would have been had Booth not turned up.
Oh, God.
Look, my last dislike was the fact that they even tried to tell us that there's a possible sequel on the doorstep.
Yeah, well, there is going to be one.
Just kill me now.
There's going to be one.
I'm not going to watch it.
Well, if it's on Netflix and I've fucking paid for it, I may as well. I continue to be part of the problem.
I get one movie in a
about.
month. I get one movie in a month. It's not going to be that.
Well, you know, when I'm digging to the depths of Kindergarten Cop 2, I can make time for Red Notice too, I guess. Like, obviously the schedule's not full. Yeah, I've got to...
Yeah, you'll make time, Jared.
Yeah, I will. I'll bump something. Oh, shit. I'll put off an important meeting or something like that to watch Red Notice too.
Yeah.
So the twists, we've kind of mentioned the twists, but they're so fucking uninspired. For the most part, they're expected. And I guess the Rock one was always in the thinking because he said the whole bad guy line. But then the other part of it to me was like, at what point does a fucking FBI profiler manage to get bailed up in a prison in this fucking setup? Like, it's just the way it happened. Again, it was a lot to cop. Oh, yeah, we fucking called someone and you're not on the system. Like, what do you mean you fucking called someone? You made one call and now you're going to arrest this bloke. Like, you haven't confirmed anything. You haven't confirmed a single thing. And you're going to put him in a fucking... I know, again, it's a setup. I get that, but I'm just like... That you look at that and you say, well, this is so fucking stupid.
Why isn't he?
But I'm still looking at, you know, is he part of the fucking?
But also,
Ryan Reynolds would have been onto it.
Also, though, Jared, he must have convinced them in some fashion to be on the case at the start.
Yeah, that's right.
So how does he convince them he's an FBI profiler? I mean, we should have known something was dodgy when he gives his profile of Reynolds. Yeah, and it's just this tosh about fucking all these cliched bullshit in there about, you know, you've got dad issues and da-da-da-da-da. It's just like,
yeah.
All right. Good one.
Yeah, that didn't work. What was with Soda Voce's voice? There was a bit of a voice being put on there that I'm not sure was... I mean, I didn't think he did a terrible job. I thought the character was super bland, but I thought as an acting performance, he was fine.
He was at least somewhat menacing.
Yeah, but the voice, what was going on there?
I don't know.
One of those choices.
How bad was the timing in the house? The guards are walking around.
Yeah. Why? Why are we fucking changing? What's the routine here? I mean, and you seem to have...
The guy is a notorious drug dealer. Yeah, he hasn't got this shit down to a fine art.
But you seem to have the angles covered. You had security cameras. You had guards stationed at locations. I thought when you did the fucking march around, it was because you didn't have, you know, you had to cover perimeters with limited numbers or something. You've got numbers everywhere. I mean, you can
put 7 dudes on the door.
That's right. I mean, why are you swapping? It's not... I don't know. You got a lunch break or something.
Purposes.
I mean, shit. Yeah, that's fucking bullshit.
Well, they've got their powders and pills break because I think the problem with that shit is trying to make it, oh, look at how hard it is and this guy's going to do this fancy shit to get through it. But it wasn't even that fancy.
But isn't it harder if the person standing on the door doesn't leave?
We've seen it 100 times.
I mean, it seems just set up perfectly that you every fucking 2 hours or whatever you're giving us a 45-second window. How about you just leave that guy standing at that one spot for 2 hours, and when it's time to relieve him, the next guy comes and says, "My turn."
Anyone in the security game would have told that bloke, "Look, you don't need to do the perimeter swap, like the 45-second window. You don't need it, mate." I mean, just put a couple of guys at the door.
I mean, essentially, you know, these guys have to then work around. You know, they get to the door and there's a bloke saying, "What do you blokes want?" Like, there's no 45 seconds of, "Oh, yeah, we're crossing over. Time to do our little march to the other end of the hallway and someone else is going to stand here."
Exactly.
Just bullshit. The biggest thing for me, well, the middle part of the movie is super fucking flat. The party included.
Yeah.
But when they get to the, you know, the
that's where you need Michael Bay, Jared.
That's right.
That is where you need Michael Bay.
That's where you want Michael Bay
he's
going,
sleazy
sitting
as
behind the
best.
director's chair going, I want the camera to really fucking fuck the audience in the face. I'm sorry, that was a crude description, but that's what I feel like when I'm watching Six Underground.
Yeah, what though? I'd rather get fucked than watch this. I mean, if that's if this is the alternative, Jesus.
Yeah. Yeah, I just think it was so bland, especially the torture sequence was one of the blandest of the whole fucking bit. And it was just kind of, I mean, that was where Gal Gadot was at her worst.
That's when
The whole
Rock
movie.
was at his worst.
Yeah, The Rock
That
was at his worst. too.
Weird acting.
I mean, he can't even convincingly tell us he got zapped on the balls.
Get up with a limp, mate.
Yeah, use an old actor's trick. Fucking
Minimum
sit on a
had a
tack or
screaming
something. I
howl.
don't know. Yeah, that didn't work out. But probably my last one, I'm not going to kick it too much more, but, and I kind of briefly mentioned it, but they're not working against anybody. Like, briefly, it's sotto voce, but then we're supposed to believe it's a race with Gal Gadot for the third egg, but the whole time you're thinking this is going to turn and they're going to work together, or there's going to be, the little backstabbing and stuff like that. But there's still no other element in there that's kind of hanging over it. I mean, by the time we get to the Nazi cave and it's the fucking cop again that turns up, isn't it? Fuck, can't even remember, but it was the cop that turns up again. I'm just like, this is just a symptom of you don't fucking have a villain, or you don't have a fucking group that you're working against, so we've just rolled these ones back out. The cops are here again.
How many of these eggs do you need? If he's got this Nazi one on tap, just freaking go for that one. That's enough, you greedy prick.
Yeah.
Outraged.
And even that idea, you get the 3 eggs and this guy's going to pay you $500 million or whatever. Even all that stuff, like, it didn't.
There's no.
It's so simple.
There's no mention of it's about the stakes, or I need the I need the rush, or there's no character feature like I'm a thrill seeker or something like that. It's never been about the actual steal, or
that's right.
There's nothing. There's nothing like
money
that. Money
doesn't matter.
Yeah,
it's about the thrill of the chase or whatever.
Yeah,
that's
he just
kind of
turns
what
into
Indiana
this
Jones was.
This pathetic suck up to the Rock. Like, we all like the Rock, but Jesus, he just
I'm quietly going off him at the moment.
Quietly.
I mean, after watching these 2 films of his, I have slightly gone off the man.
Yeah, I'm a little bit upset.
And I haven't seen Jungle Cruise, or I don't know what. The last one I saw prior to this was, other than Skyscraper, was that god awful San Andreas.
Yeah, I dodged that one.
Yeah, I think. Look, as I said, I thought Jungle Cruise was okay. It's nothing unexpected. It's a Disney movie with The Rock in it. You can kind of pick the things that you're going to see. But at least I had, I had an enjoyable experience with it. I mean, this one was a chore.
Yeah, this one was trouble. Is that everything?
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, dear God. Okay, that was Red Notice. You can find us on iTunes, Spotify and Podomatic, as well as all other places you get your podcasts. Send us an email at thrillme@iinet.net.au. Like us on Facebook at Thrill Me Podcast Australia, Podomatic at thrillme.podomatic.com, and Instagram at thrillmepodcastau. Try to rate and review us if you can. That would be certainly helpful to the cause. The next episode, we're going to do The Rock's... was it his first or second? I think it was his second. His second film, which is Walking Tall. But until then, take it easy and we'll catch up with everyone later. Cheers.
find the podcast at Podomatic or on iTunes. Don't forget to rate and review. Like us on Facebook at Thrill Me Podcast Australia, or contact us at thrillme, all one word, all lowercase, at iinet.net.au.